organic chemistry, as well as traditional Japanese medicine. Dr. Tracy even spent 7 years in Japan researching scientific advancements in making natural ingredients more powerful and obtained a PhD from the Graduate School of Health Knowledge and Science in Nagoya, Japan. Also, he happens to be the creator and patent holder of a trademark method of increasing natural ingredients bioavailability. He's also the author of 4 books as well as numerous health articles. And on top of all that, he's the developer of 2 additional trademarks for technological formulation processes. This guy was the real deal, and with these kinds of credentials, he had my full attention. Dr. Tracy and his research team had just uncovered something very significant regarding CBD. Not only the major downside with it, but also a way to make it significantly more powerful than any supplement he'd ever created in the past. He explained that CBD and the other molecules from the hemp plant are unlike anything else we've ever seen from nature before. In what seems like a 1 in a billion possibility, they're almost identical to super rare molecules that are produced by our bodies. Molecules that regulate proper functioning of our immune system and our nervous system, essentially controlling how healthy we are and how good our body feels. He explained that these molecules from the hemp plant fit precisely into receptors throughout our entire body, just like keys into locks. This is all part of a complex system known as our endocannabinoid system. And actually, these rare molecules in the hemp plant were first discovered way back in 1963 by an Israeli organic chemist named Raphael Mekulam, who was the professor of medicinal chemistry at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And after his groundbreaking discovery was made, it was tragically just swept under the rug and hidden from the public for all these years. It really was starting to seem like someone or some group of people didn't want this information to be researched anymore or shared with the public. The CBD is short for cannabidiol and is a cannabinoid. It's one of the most abundant cannabinoids in the hemp plant, and that's why people even know about it. But what most people don't realize is there's actually over 100 different versions of these special molecules called cannabinoids that exist in the hemp plant. And the reason most people don't know this is because back when the demand for CBD took off, the companies selling these hemp extracts figured out how to isolate away just the CBD from the rest of the cannabinoids. It meant they could produce this new CBD known as CBD isolate more efficiently, quicker, and cheaper. So as good as everyone had always thought this was, ourselves included, I learned from Dr. Tracy that day that there's actually a very big downside with all this. He told me that these cannabinoids each have their own unique characteristics and benefits, and they're much, much more powerful when they're still combined with each other the way nature intended. CBD was never meant to be isolated. It needs to be with the other 100+ cannabinoids that naturally exist alongside it. But believe it or not, that's not even the main problem with the products being sold to people today. Having all the cannabinoids together doesn't even matter if you don't address the main issue with CBD that's not being talked about, and this was the dirty little secret being hidden from you and I. See, Dr. Tracy had spent the last 8 years studying something he said would completely change the way we view CBD forever. A modern-day advancement known as nanotechnology. When he first heard about this and realized it had massive potential to enhance what natural ingredients would be capable of, he sought out the top experts in this field to study under. And since nobody in the supplements world was working with this yet, he was able to find a few scientists already using it in the pharmaceutical world and got them to agree to let him practice underneath them and share their knowledge. That was Dr. Robert Nicolosi, a researcher at MIT with over 250 published white papers on nanotechnology. Along with his research partner, Dr. Shrikant Kakumanu, who happened to be one of the only other widely published experts on this rare technology. So after obtaining this rare skill set, he then had to convince the people that make the super rare machines to be able to do this to actually agree to manufacture and sell him one of the machines. So after waiting months for it to be made and delivered to his research lab, he then was able to start figuring out what it was truly capable of, and then made the discovery that would change the CBD industry forever. Are you ready for this? What he discovered was that our bodies can barely even use any of the CBD or the other cannabinoids in their natural form. It turns out that CBD and the other cannabinoids are only somewhere between 6 and 8% bioavailable. What this means is that up to 94% of what someone takes is not even being used by the body. So imagine paying to fill up your gas tank, but 94% of this type of gas just leaks out and you can't even use it. How would you feel about that? Now, also imagine that that same 94% of the gas that is leaking is spilling directly into the driver's seat of your vehicle. Would that type of gas be worth your money? Would using that type of gas make your life better or more difficult? This was extremely shocking and frustrating to learn about, to say the least. But this is also the same discovery that led to him cracking the code and unleashing the maximum potential of what the hemp plant really could do. What Dr. Tracy had uncovered was that nanotechnology has the power to shrink CBD and the other hemp molecules up to 70 times smaller than a single red blood cell. And that by making the particles this small, it allows your body to use practically all of it. Now, the analogy he used made it really easy to understand. Think of normal CBD particles being like trying to throw a basketball through a chain link fence. It won't go through. And using nanoparticles is like throwing sand through that same fence. It's all going through. Okay, all of this was starting to make sense now. I now realize the reason why CBD never did anything for me. My thoughts were going a million miles per hour. These cannabinoids and their rare abilities, how your body recognizes them and uses them to maximize what your endocannabinoid system does, maximizing how healthy you are and how good your body feels, and now being fully unlocked, 10 times more powerful and capable of things we've never seen before. I mean, can you imagine? Being pain-free and feeling good around the clock? Waking up refreshed with boundless energy? Moving like water with no more stiffness or tension, and a clear, vibrant, all-day focus with a body that functions better than you always wished it had? Up until this point in my career, I thought I knew it all. And as exciting as all this was, it almost felt like we had been stealing from people in need, taking advantage of people's willingness to try this highly talked about ingredient in hopes of having this higher quality of life. But honestly, I mean, what were we going to do? We literally were sitting on approximately $500,000 of CBD products for our own brand. After learning this though, we certainly had a lot to think about. We eventually agreed that we didn't want to keep selling these CBD products that were just a waste of money. What we wanted to do was truly help people. So what we bet on was the idea that if we did what was right, this problem could take care of itself. I still don't like thinking about that huge loss we took, but we knew what needed to be done. So since we already decided to take this huge financial setback by doing the right thing, we figured, well, let's take every precaution possible to ensure our next product will be the absolute best product that we could possibly bring to the people who needed it. So we set out to create the greatest CBD product of all time.